Okay. Hello, it's Dorian. Welcome to another episode of Dip Bakes. Today we're going to be making a Earl Grey tea cake. I've never made this cake before. I love tea, so I figured that this would be a perfect recipe for me. It also contains orange zest and dark chocolate, so I think it'll be an interesting combination. For this recipe, we'll need flour, butter, Earl Grey tea, baking powder, salt, sugar, orange zest, eggs, milk, dark chocolate, and then for the frosting, you'll need heavy cream, more Earl Grey, confectioner or powdered sugar, and mascarpone. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get started on our frosting. Different than normal, but we have to steep the tea, and so we want to make sure we have time to do that, and that it's ready at the same time that the cake is going to be ready to be frosted. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is heat our heavy cream to make our icing, frosting, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to do a half cup. Put this on medium. And then it says that we should get this to a simmer before we add our tea. I am adding a little bit more tea than what's recommended, because people online have said that they like that it needs more tea, so I'm using my fancy Hawaiian Earl Grey tea for this icing. So we'll let that get to a simmer. Okay, so our cream is simmering now. I know you can't really see. So the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of tea. I didn't actually measure how much tea this is, but I was planning on doing like a heavy tablespoon. And this is, yeah, about maybe a tablespoon and a teaspoon, so 4 teaspoons. So we're just going to stir this in here. And so I know you can't see that well. So then we're going to go ahead and remove this from the heat. And then we're going to cover it and let it chill for 30 minutes. So that's why we're doing it first. We're essentially just letting that tea steep. And let me see if I can get you a better picture of what the tea looks like. So that's what we're working with for our cream. Alright, so we're going to let that sit and we're going to get started on our cake now. We're going to turn the oven on 350. And then we are going to butter an 8-inch cake pan in line with parchment paper. Alright, so I have my 8-inch cake pan here, and I'm just going to paint it with some butter. I just keep softened butter around. I don't know if you guys do that, but if you don't, I would recommend it. And then we're going to put a parchment paper round in here. And I'm going to make it the same way that I made it for the chocolate cake that we made a couple weeks ago. So we're just going to make a right angle, or I guess a right triangle. And we're going to keep folding it around the middle here. Basically, as small as we can get it, we're going to make the most like a circle. So this pointed shape here, and then we're going to just cut it to line up with our pan. Alright, I think we're ready. I think we're ready for the cake now. So this recipe calls for a half cup of softened butter. This one lists it as 115 grams, so that's what we'll do. I'm sure those 2 grams don't make that big of a difference. My butter's probably not as soft as it should be. It's pretty cold in my house right now. But I think we'll be okay. Okay, cool. Alright, so we'll put that in here. And then, let's see, what's next? We are going to add the sugar. And we are adding 1 cup of sugar, or 200 grams. Okay, so 200 grams of sugar. Oh, let's not drop the rest of the sugar. And then we're going to go ahead and cream that. Alright, just going to scrape this down. And then while this finishes up, the next thing we're going to do is add our orange zest. So I'm going to go ahead and start zesting my orange. Okay, so we're going to zest our orange. It says 2 teaspoons from 1 orange. I don't think I've ever had too much zest in anything, so I'm going to just do the whole orange. And if we have a little bit extra, you know, that's cool. Not going to complain. So we're going to put that in now. Use our little butter knife here. And then we're going to mix that together. Okay. So we have our sugar, orange, and butter mixture. Looks pretty well combined. Smells good already, right? Good. Okay. And now we're going to add our eggs one at a time, beating after each egg. Oh, I think there's shell in there. There is. Luckily it's big. This is why you crack into another bowl. Okay, that's fine. Okay, scrape this down. I feel like this cake should have vanilla in it. I'm not changing anything besides the amount of tea. That's the only thing I remember reading. Okay, other egg is in. Alright. Looks pretty good, coming together easily. Happy about that. No issues there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and prepare our dry ingredients now. So, we need 190 grams of flour. Just going to put that orange zest in there. That was hanging out. No need to waste it. Now we're going to put this in a separate bowl. I think we're done with this scale right now, so I'm just going to move that. It says 1 tablespoon of Earl Grey tea. So I kind of am a tea snob, and I actually meant to bring home my work tea. But luckily I have some Earl Grey at home. But for this part of the cake, I'm going to use these tea bags just because this doesn't get strained out. And so I don't want people getting tea stuck in their teeth, because, like, you know, loose leaf tea is like much bigger than kind of like whatever you get in these packets. I'm gonna open it. It's gonna be huge. But yeah, so like this will like go well in the cake. So I just figured this would make more sense. So we're supposed to do 1 tablespoon. So I'm just gonna put it in this little thing to measure it. I'm going to cut it. Look how small that is. That's crazy. It's everywhere. Ah! Okay, I'm cutting the next one. I'm not doing that again. So I'm just going to put all of these in here. I kind of want to double the amount of tea in it. I'm really excited about this cake. It's been on my list for a while. I was really just looking for like a reason to make it. And it is weird, again, with like the orange and the chocolate. I think it's probably supposed to like enhance the flavor of Earl Grey, since Earl Grey does have like the orange, bergamot, and then I don't think it has a chocolate flavor, but I guess you could say that. So yeah. Okay, so this doesn't even look like, this is like 1 tablespoon here from 4 bags. Ha! So I'm gonna do 2 more. Alright, so yeah, I did 6 tea bags for that. Alright, then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of salt. I know you guys talk about me with my bag of salt here, but it's working, okay? So that's all of our dry ingredients. I'll whisk this together real quick. I love the way this looks. I'm really excited about this. You know where there's like a certain point in the recipe where you get and you're like, I'm excited for this recipe. This is where I am right now. Sometimes it's as soon as you read the recipe. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. This is my excitement stage. Alright, so it's been a half hour for our steeped tea. So I'm going to put this, we're supposed to put it in the fridge and let it cool completely. This is weird. This is weird looking. This is, can you tell how weird looking it is? Oh shoot, was I supposed to strain it now? Let me see, let me check. So we're going to put this back in here. Oh, it smells good. It smells weird, but it smells good. Alright, and I'm using a large bowl. I think I'm going to make the icing in that bowl. And so I figured it would cool down faster as well if I put it in a bigger bowl. So this is really interesting. This is really interesting. This is so interesting. Okay, so yeah, doing a large leaf tea has worked really well because this has not gone through the strainer. It is kind of like a paste though, so if you used a finer tea like the tea bags, it might still kind of congeal. In which case, it still wouldn't really go through. Okay, we're just gonna definitely tastes like Earl Grey. But the cream is like way too thick. Okay, so we're gonna put this little teeny bit of cream in the fridge. So let's finish our cake. So I think we now have all of the dry ingredients mixed. Gonna double check. We're gonna add the flour mixture just until it's combined. Okay, I think that's good. It looks like lemon poppy seed. I'm gonna scrape this down and we're gonna add our milk. Yeah, just want to make sure there's nothing stuck at the bottom here. Everything looks mixed together pretty well. It is a paste. And then I think we're supposed to add the milk all at once. And it says do not overmix. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so there's our milk. Half a cup of milk. Room temperature. Okay. Just gonna scrape this down. It smells good. The orange and the tea smells good together. I'm most nervous about the chocolate, admittedly. Maybe this will be one of those recipes where I'm like, doesn't need chocolate. Alright, so I'm going to say that that's combined. No chunks. Everything's moistened. Scraping the bottom. Alright, so this calls for 45 grams of chocolate. This is 100 grams, so about half of that is what we're going to do. I'm not going to stress about measuring out 45 grams of chocolate. Okay, so we're going to do our favorite chopping method. I'm just going to throw this into a plastic bag and beat it. We're just going to use our little trusty 1/3. How small? Just as chopped. That's probably good, right? Alright, so we're just going to fold that in. I'm really excited. We're about done. So I'm just going to clean this off again. Alright, so we're going to do that. Alright. Fold this in. Just a little bit of chocolate. Probably just get it here and there. And the fact that it's chopped, a lot of it probably melts down. This is a weird looking cake batter. Alright, pour this in here. It smells really interesting, but it smells really good. So, just gonna smooth it out. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a good. Alright. And then we're gonna put this in the oven. Okay, again, the oven is on 350. And we're gonna put that in for 20 minutes. We're gonna bake it until a toothpick comes out clean. Alright, cool. So I'm gonna let that bake. Clean up the kitchen, and then we'll get ready to make our frosting. Well, I think the cake will come out of the oven first. and then we'll make the frosting. And then the cake can cool while we make the frosting. Yay! Okay, so the cake actually needed 30 minutes, so I put another 9 minutes on the timer. And I have about a minute left, and I'm starting to smell it, so I'm just gonna check. I'm just gonna check to see how it's doing. It looks done. It's definitely done. So we're gonna pull that out. Hopefully it's not too overdone. The edges are pretty brown. What an interesting looking cake. I think it said moist crumbs need to be attached, so we might have overbaked it just a tad. But that's okay. It's still plenty springy. Alright, so we're going to turn that off. And then we're just going to let this cool now. We're going to turn it out of the pan, but I think we're going to give it a few minutes. And then we'll turn it out of the pan, and then we're going to put it in the fridge so it can cool down so that we can finish up the cake. So, I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to put this onto the pan and put it on the rack and put it into the fridge. I forgot that when I use these pans, I usually bake 25 degrees lower. That's true for like all of my cakes. Then I forgot. All of my cakes in these pans. It doesn't matter what type of cake. But I forgot to do that. So it is a little bit more baked than I really would like it. But I think all in all, it'll be fine. And it's still warm, so let's see. Hopefully that comes out. Ooh, ooh. It's funny to me that it looks so much like lemon poppy seed. So we're going to put this in the fridge. Alright, so we have our cake in the fridge, and then the cream that we made with the tea has been cooling. So we're going to go ahead and make this icing now. So it said that this needs to be really cold. Hopefully it's cold enough. Definitely is cold to the touch. It said at least an hour. And it's been about an hour, so it should be fine. But we're basically making a whipped cream that's going to be stabilized by mascarpone. We will need another 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of powdered sugar. I do have my scale so we can keep measuring. Oh, 30 grams. 30 grams of confectioner sugar, not 60. Alright, and so we're just going to beat these two things together until stiff peaks form. So I'm just using my hand mixer. Okay. Are these medium stiff peaks? I feel like they are. So they're definitely not stiff peaks. They kind of bend over, but there's a clear peak that's forming. So we'll go ahead and add our mascarpone. Alright, for that, we're going to be doing 113 grams. Okay, that's close enough. Alright. So we've been instructed not to overbeat the cream. So just until stiff peaks form. So yes, ma'am. I feel like, oh fudge. I feel like these are these stiff? It's a lot creamier than I thought it would be. Let me get a spoon. A lot creamier. Like I thought it would be more still kind of like a whipped cream texture. I feel like this is pretty close to stiff. I don't want to overbeat it. So I've been instructed not to. I'll do a taste test. That's good. Subtly sweet. And for a person that loves tea, this is like hitting the spot. It's like drinking a cup of tea. I love it. Okay, so I think that's good. It tastes good. I feel like it's just like a little thick, but it doesn't specify, you know, so like I don't want to I think if you overbeat it, it can break. I'm trying to make sure everything's actually mixed in there. Alright, so let me get the cake out of the fridge. And it still is a little bit warm. I mean, I wouldn't say it's warm, I guess. It's not cold. I'm just gonna scoop it on. What's that? And then I'll use my offset spatula to make it look cute. Yeah, it's like pretty thick. Thicker than I thought it would be, the icing, frosting. Back to that debate. And they just had it look like kind of dolloped on top. I feel like it can be so cute with like the little blue flowers that you get in Earl Grey tea. I think they're called cornflowers. So, let me readjust here and we will try this. Okay, so I did go ahead and cut it. Mostly so that we could see, look at this is like a solid piece of cake, the inside. And you can definitely eat this with a fork. It's interesting, it reminds me of the consistency of like a pound cake. I'm gonna bite over here actually. I got like chocolate in that way. It's really good. It's like better than I imagined. The chocolate is great. Tea flavor is great. You can taste the orange. It's really good. If you like tea, especially Earl Grey, then I think you'd really like it. If you're like not really into tea, you don't like the flavor of tea, maybe not. I feel like a lot of people that don't like tea have never had good tea, if I'm being honest. So if you feel like maybe you should like tea, but you don't, I'll give this cake a try. But that's it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment on the video. If you make it, please let me know. If you make it with any adjustments, definitely let me know because this is my first time making this. So I really just followed the recipe except for the addition of extra tea. So if you make any changes, let me know for sure how it turns out so maybe I can try it too. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.
Waiting for the magic word.
This is Kyle. He's going to be tasting the British bakes next season and rating them on a scale of 1 to 10.
This is Dorian. She bakes stuff.
Okay, beep beep.